davar shebalev. So therefore, the Gemara is suggesting that's why there's no chatos for an accident makis days. Let's say witnesses accidentally go ahead and testify about something that they could not have really seen. So halacha l'maisa, again, there is no chatos that's brought for that. Now, if it's really true that akima svasav, that speaking is a maisa, megadef is the exception, because the ikar of megadef is belief, right? Not with your lips, but for edim zomin, ultimately, again, there should be a chiyuv for an accidental act of edim zomin. Va'amai ha'pik siv bahen amarava shani edim zomin ho'av yeshnam bere'iyav. So this is actually quite interesting. So Rava says edim zomin is different. Why is edim zomin different? Because the ikar of edim zomin, interestingly enough, is not with their articulation, but the ikar of edim zomin is what they claim to have seen. So re'iyah is obviously not a mice. If you look at Rashi on the right hand side, almost right across, says hoel v'yeshna bere'iyah ikar edusan bere'iyas ha'ayin sheme'idin b'mashero hilchach lo chashiv maisa. It's actually quite interesting that the ikar of edim zomin is really testifying what they saw. The act of re'iyah is not an act, it's not a maisa. So because it's not a maisa, there is no chatos that's brought for an accidental violation of edim zomin. Interesting. Good. Ha'ochel chaylev. So now we go back to. So therefore, again, what you begin to see is as follows. Even according to Rabbi Yochanan, who holds that kfifas komaso is a maisa, akimas svasav, articulation by megadef, will not be a maisa. Why? Because the ikar by megadef is where? Is believe in the heart. And furthermore, again, there'll be no chatas also by an accidental edim zomin. Why not? Because there the ikar is not yakimas vasav. There the ikar is what? Is the re'iyah. And everyone will agree that obviously a re'iyah, an act of seeing something, doesn't satisfy the criteria of a maisa. Ha'ochel chelef. So we'll say one. Remember again, the Mishnah goes on in the list. One who eats chelef is a chiyuv kares. Says in Tanra Rabbanon, Kol chilev shor v'kesav ve'ez lo sochelu. So we'll say, so the pasuk says, Vayikra zayin chav gimel daber al b'nei Yisrael lemor kol chilev shor v'chesav ve'ez lo sochelu. The chilev, the forbidden fats of a shor, an ox, a kesav, sheep, an ez, a goat, shall not be consumed. So says the Gemara, why do you have to mention all three of these animals? L'chai v'kol achas v'achas Rabbi Shmuel. So Rabbi Shmuel says it's in order to go ahead and make you chayiv for the consumption of each of these chalavim. So for example, if you were to eat the chalev of a kesev, an ez, and the shar, Rabbi Shmuel says you would be chayiv 3 chatos. 3 chatos. The chum, I should say, let me say, I take that back. You would be chayiv 3 times. You'd be chayiv 3 times. There'll be 3 days. Remember again, we're talking about a chayiv kares. What happens if you violate the chayiv kares? What do you get in Beis Din? Malchus. Right? You get malchus. When you say chayiv 3 times, it means you have violated 3 kares liabilities. You'll be chayiv malchus 3 times. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be chayiv 3 chatos. As we're going to see, karbanos is going to be treated differently. So Rabbi Shmuel holds these 3 different mentions of animals, or 3 different chalavim, to teach them chayiv 3 times. Chum the chum say inu chayiv el achos. Chum say no, you're only going to be chayiv once. If you look at Rashi says chayiv al kol achas v'achas malchus im achlon b'asra achas. So for example, again, if I go ahead and I eat the chilav of a shor, a kesef, and the eiz, and I eat them all within one halam, right? So Rabbi Shmuel says we're going to be chayiv 3 malchus, three distinct malchus liabilities. Chum say only chayiv once. So what are they arguing about? Rabbi Shmuel Silber lo kin alav shebechlalos. So we'll say maybe what they're arguing about is as follows. There's something called a lav shebechlalos. Lav shebechlalos means one lav that encompasses many different things. So we'll say here's a perfect example of that. So the dabra lo kol chelev shar the kesef the eiz lo sochelu. So there's one prohibition of chelev, but that one prohibition of chelev is encompassing all of these different animals. So the Gemara is suggesting maybe their machlokes is how to look at what we call this lav shebechlalos. Rabbi Shmuel Silber lo kin alav shebechlalos. Rabbi Shmuel holds that even though the lav mentions all of these things together, they're all treated as distinct liabilities. The Rabbanan Savri in lo kin alav shebechlalos. The Rabbanan on the other hand hold, we'll say when it says that you don't get malchus for alav shebechlalos, what that means is you don't get malchus for distinct liabilities on a lav shebech lalos. Rather, again, halacha lamaisa, you only get one malchus for all of the different animals mentioned over here. To which the Gemara says no. Rabbi Shmuel ein lokin alav shebech lalos. Even Rabbi Shmuel holds that what? When you have a lav that encompasses many things, you only get one act of malchus, even if you violated all of these different things. V'shayni hacha. So what's different over here? Yeah, Rabbi said we know that Rabbi Shmuel holds that if you were to eat the chelev of a shar, a kasev, and an aiz, Rabbi Shmuel holds you get 3 distinct punishments of malchus. So then why is that? So shayni hacha demiyasri le kroi. Because ultimately, again, Rabbi Shmuel holds that the pasuk by definition includes additional components. How so? Nichtov kra kol chelev lo sachelu. Rabbi Shmuel says the pasuk could have just said don't eat chelev. Don't eat chelev. Period. Once you tell me don't eat chelev, I know that what does that include? The chelev of a shar, of a kesev, and an aiz. If that's the case, so the Gemara says shar v'kesev v'aiz lamali. So why does the Torah have to add in shar, kesev, and aiz? To which the Gemara says shma min alachalik, to teach me that halacha l'maisa, if indeed I consumed the chelev of a shar and kesev and aiz, that there is distinct liability for each of these acts of consumption. V'Rabbanan, what would the Rabbanan say? Ilo ksiv shar v'kesev v'aiz. So the Rabbanan would say this: if the pasuk would not have said shar v'kesev v'aiz, hava amina afilu chelev chaya b'mashma. I would have thought that liability covers even the chelev of a chaya. The Rabbi say we know that that is not true, right? The din of chelev only applies to behemoths, does not apply to chayas. Lahachi ksiv shar v'kesev v'eiz. Therefore, the Rabbanan say the pasuk needs to articulate shar kesev v'eiz while the memra the chelev shar kesev v'eiz hu da'aser avad the chayish shari. So, therefore, according to the Rabbanan, the mention of shar kesev and eiz is not coming to generate distinct liabilities for each of these chalavim, but rather what is it coming to do? To dafka teach you that the prohibition of chelev only applies to what? Only applies to the chelev of a behemo, but not to the chelev of a chaya. So says Gemara, good. Shapir kamrilei. The Rabbanan are saying good. Ela haini time Rabbi Shmuel. So we'll say what's Rabbi Shmuel's logic? Dika amar, dika savar, im kain. If that was true, that the Torah is coming to teach me that the Isra of Chelev only applies to a Chelev Behema and not Chelev Chaya. Lichtov Kol Chelev Shar Lo Sochelu. Just let it say Kol Chelev Shar. We'll say Shar is the paradigmatic Behema. Once you say you can't eat the Chelev of a Shar, I would have said that what? That by definition applies to all Chalavim of Behemoths. Kesef Ve'ez Lamali. Why do I need Kesef and Eiz? Shma min alachalek. Therefore again it must be what? To be mechalik, to teach you that if you ate the chelev of a shar, a kesef, and the eiz, that you will be chayav for each and every act of consumption. For the Rabbanan Savi, the Rabbanan will say, kasav rachmana kol chelev shar. The Rabbanan will say this: if the Torah would have just said kol chelev shar, hava amina nelev shar, we'll say the hagos. It's going to change this to Shabbos. Shar means Shabbos. Ma gabe Shabbos. Chayev ha'ov kiyotze bahen. So we'll say I would have thought make a gzera shava between chelev and Shabbos. But the Torah says shar by Shabbos when speaking about the obligation of shvisas behemto. Right? You can't work your animals on Shabbos. So it says shar by Shabbos, and it says shar by chelev. Ma gabe Shabbos chayev ha'ov kiyotze bahen. We'll say just like when it comes to Shabbos, shar doesn't just mean shar, but shar means all animals, even your chaya and your oaf. Af gabi achila chayev of kiyotze bohen. So too I would have thought by the consumption of chelev, I would also include my what? My chaya and my oaf. Tell me that the chiyuv of chelev applies to chaya and oaf. La'achi kasav rachmana shar v'kesef v'eiz. Therefore the Torah comes and says by chelev shar kesef and eiz, teaching that what? That the din of chelev only applies to behemoths and not to chayas and ofos. So the Gemara says, "Afkabe achila chayav kiyotze bohen, v'achkesef rachmana shar v'kesef l'meimra dahani da'aser avachayav va'of shari." Therefore, Abba said by chayil Torah Dafka says shar v'kesef v'eiz to teach me that it's Dafka these type of animals, i.e. behemoths, have a prohibition ultimately of chelev, but chayos and ofos do not. Shapir karmile, so it's saying right, it's saying good. Elahainu taima. So what is Rabbi Shmuel's logic? Dikasavar. So we'll say, so now we've just shown us according to the Rabbanon, there's good reason why the Torah says by chaylev shar kesef and eis, and that reason is not to generate distinct liability for the consumption of each of those forms of chaylev, but rather to teach you that the prohibition of chaylev dafka applies to behemoths and not to chayes and to ofos. So what is Rabbi Shmuel's logic? Ela hainu taima dikasavar nichtov kol chaylev kasev lo tochelu. So I'll say, so the Torah could have just said, don't eat the chaylev of any kasev. Inami kol chaylev eis lo sochelu. Shor v'kasef ve'ez lamali. So we'll say the Torah could have made this point that you're only chayiv for the kasef, for the chaylev of a behemah, and just write one type of behemah. Why do you need shar v'kasef ve'ez? Shma min alachalik. Rabbi Shmuel will tell you to generate distinct liability. The Torah needs to say right shar v'kasef ve'ez to teach me that halacha l'maisa I am chayiv. If I eat the chaylev of a shar and a kasef and the eis, I will be chayiv ultimately again 3 times. For Rabbanan Savri, the Rabbanan will say like this: I kasev chaylev kasev. If it would have just said you can't eat the chaylev of a sheep, hava mina chaylev kasev asar v'shar ve'ez shari. I would have thought it's dafka the chaylev of a kasev that's asar, but the chaylev of a shar and a kasev should be mutter. Why is that? I'm sorry, shar and a eis should be mutter. V'chitema my ul made the kasev. So why you'll say, well, why would you think that the chaylev of a kesef would be asar, but yet the chaylev of these other animals would be mutter? To which the Gemara says, I'll tell you why. The Gemara says, mishum denesraba ba'alya. So we'll say a kesef, interestingly enough, is different. Why? A kesef does have a chumrah over a shar and an eis. What's the chumrah of the kesef? The alya, the fat of the tail. So I'll say, so that is something that is prohibited by the kasev, but is not prohibited by the shar and the eis. Ukiditana Rabbi Chanina, lama man hakasav emor in b'shar, ve'emor in b'kasev, ve'emor in b'eis. Why does the Torah go out of its way to speak about the sacrificial parts of the b'char shar, the b'char kasev, and the b'char eis? I'll tell you why. To which the Gemara says, Dichsiv af b'char shar, o b'char kasev, O b'chareis tzrichi di kasav shar, because the Torah would have just spoken about the sacrificial parts of a b'char shar. Hamamina kesef ve'ez lo yafinon minei. I would have thought I can't learn out the sacrificial parts of a b'char shar and an eis from. I'm sorry, kesef ve'ez I couldn't learn out from shar. Why not? Di ikal mifrach, because you could have brought a pircha. That's what malashar. Shekinis Rabba min Nesachim. Both say a shar has more Nesachim, right? A shar has more wine libations than any other carbon. Therefore, again, you can't learn that from shar. Nichtov Rachmana b'kasev v'neilif shar ve'ez mikasev. So let the Torah just write the halacha of sacrificial parts by b'char by kasev, and I'll learn out shar and eis from kasev. Ikal mifrach, there could have been a pircha. Mala kasev shekinis Rabba ba'alya. Kasev is different. Why? Because it has alya, it has the fat of the tail, which does not apply to the other karbanos. Nichtov rachmana eis v'neilif shar. Let the Torah go ahead and write eis and learn out shar and kasev from it. Ikal mifrach mala eis shekin nisrabe eis lavados kochalim. So we'll say eis is different. The goat is different. Why? Because the goat, interestingly enough, halacha l'maisa, is the unique carbon that is brought by an accidental act of avodah zarah. Min chad lo yafinan. So therefore, I cannot learn out any one. One of them would not be enough. Nichtov tarti v'neilif chadami tarti. So we'll say if that's the case, why do you have to write all 3? Just write 2 out of the 3 and learn the 3rd from the other 2 that is mentioned. To which the Gemara says, He din neilif. So which one should I write? Shar mikasev v'yeis. If I would say, you know what? Let's go ahead, neilif shar. So let's write kesev and eis and learn out shar from kesev and eis. Islahon pircha. There's a pircha. What's the pircha? Malakesev ve'eis. Shekin, both say first white line. Shekin Yisrabu Eitzel HaPesach. So interestingly enough, remember again, Kesef Kasef and A's have a unique common denominator in that they can both be used for Karban Pesach. That's different by Shar. Shar cannot be used by Karban Pesach. Lo nichtov, I'll say first wide line. Lo nichtov Kasef, v'nelef mishar ve'ez. Don't write Kasef and just learn it out from Shar and A's. Islon pircha, malashar ve'ez shekin isra be'ez la'avodos kol chavim. Shar, so Kasef, remember again, Kasef and A's, Shar ve'ez are different. Why? Because we'll say those are both karbanos brought in conjunction with accidental acts of avodah zarah. Lo nichtov A's v'nelef mishar v'kasef. Don't write A's and learn it out from Shar and Kasef. Islun pircha malashar v'kasef shekin yishpot tzad riboy. So remember again, you could say that both Shar and Kasef have what we call a tzad riboy. What does that mean? They both have additional items that A's does not. Namely, Shar, as Rashi points out, Shar has nesachim, and Kasef ultimately again has the din of alya, the fat of the tail, which ultimately again A's does not. To which the Gemara says, Hilchach lo yalfi mehadadi. Therefore, again, essentially, no one of these items can be learned out from the other, and no one could be learned out from the other two. Therefore, Shapir ka'amrilei. Therefore, we'll say the Rabbanon are saying good. So remember again, Rabbi Shmuel's whole logic was the fact that the Torah needs to write all three indicates to us a construct of individual liability. And therefore, if you were to go ahead, therefore the Torah writes the chalev of a Shar, Kasef, and Ace to teach you that if you consumed all three of these chalav, and therefore what? You would be chayiv 3 times. It appears that what the Rabbanon have successfully shown is that no, the Torah must write all three because they could not have been learned out from one another. No one could be learned out from the other, and no one could be learned out from the other two. To which the Gemara says, Eli, all the time Rabbi Shmuel Kidamrina Meikara. Rather says the Gemara, you're right. The reason for Rabbi Shmuel is as we stated beforehand. The Imkain, Nichtov Kol Chelev Velishtok. The Torah could have just said Kol Chelev, and that would have been enough. My Amrit Hai, so the Gemara says, My Amrit Hai Dichsev Shar V'Kesef V'Eiz. So the Gemara says, well, what did you say before? Why did the pasuk say Shar V'Kesef V'Eiz L'Mishri Chelev Chaya? Because had the Torah not said that, you would have thought what? That the chelev of a chaya would be permitted. So the Gemara says, I'm sorry, my amrit haydichsev shar v'kesef ve'eiz l'mishri chelev chaya. But the fact that the Torah writes that these shar kesef and eiz is to teach you that what? The din of chelev only applies to behemoths, not to chayas. Hakik sivkra be'inyan dekachim. But one second, the pasuk that's mentioned, Rabbosai, is dafka mentioned where? In the context, ultimately again, of kachim, the davar lamed mi'inyano. So we'll remember again, the fact that this pasuk is mentioned by kachim, and remember again, in general by kachim, you can never bring a chaya for sacrificial purposes, right? Karbanos are only brought from behemos and ophos, never by chaya. So just like ultimately again, karbanos are only brought from behemos, so to the din of chelev will only apply to behemos. Michlad Rabbanan Savri Lo Yalfinan Davar Lamein Meinyano. So do the Rabbanan say not subscribe to this idea that we got Davar Lamein Meinyano means that when deriving a halacha we look at the context. To which the Gemara says, Lo D'chuli Amad Davar Lamein Meinyano. Everyone agrees with the concept that ultimately again we learn out the halacha based on the context. V'hacha b'ha pligi. Here is what they're arguing about. Rabbi Shmuel Silber Lemeidin Lav Milav. Bein milav dekaris. Rabbi Shmuel holds that you could learn out one lav from another lav, whether that is stam a lav or whether that is a lav of karis. Skip all of the parentheses for about 5 lines. For Rabbanon, lav mi lav yafinon, lav mi karis lo yafinon. The Rabbanon on the other hand hold that it's true. You could learn one lav from another lav, but you cannot learn a lav from a lav of karis. Viba isema. The other possibility is Hainu Tamayu de Rabbanon. Here is the logic. What's the logic of the Rabbanon? Kida Amrle Rav Mori the Rav Zvid. Elame Ata Alya Dechulin Tissar. But if that's the case, I will say then even the Alya is the fat of the tail of Chulin should become Asr. Amrle Alech Amakra Kol Chelev Shar V'Kesef V'Eiz. davar hashava b'shloshton ba'inon v'leka. We will say, so the fact that the Torah, when phrasing the prohibition ultimately again of chaylev, says it shar kesev and ace, teaches you that only the type of chaylev that applies to all three types of these animals is going to be asur. Chaylev alya, the fat of the tail, does not apply ultimately again to the shar and the kesev, only applies to the a's. Does not apply to the shar and the a's, only applies to the kesev, and therefore ultimately again it will not be asur by chulin. V'leka hilchach kiyasa shar v'kesev v'a's lemeshre alya d'chulin hudasa. So we'll say, interestingly enough, therefore in the pasuk of shar kesev and a's comes along, it comes to teach you that what type of chaylev is going to be asur? Only the type of chaylev that applies to all three types of these animals. So therefore, what does it come to permit? It comes to permit the alya d'chulin, that the fat of the tail by a non-consecrated animal ultimately again will be permitted. Rabbi Shmuel will say, Im kain leimakra kol chaylev shar v'kesef kol chaylev shar. Let the pasuk just say on the chaylev of a shar kesef va'ez lamali lechalik shmeina lechalik. So we'll say Rabbi Shmuel is true to a shita. Rabbi Shmuel is that halacha lemaisa. The reason the Torah goes out of its way to mention all three of the animals is to generate distinct liability. So we'll say, so this is the fundamental machlokes that essentially again continues throughout this entire daf over here, when everyone agrees that ultimately again if you eat chaylev, you are chayiv for kares, right? Chayiv kares for intentional consumption, and what? And a chatos for unintentional consumption. What happens if you eat the chaylev of a shar, a kesev, and an a's in one helam, in one what's the right word? One lapse. Thank you. One lapse. So Rabbi Shmuel will hold that halacha l'maaseh you're a chayiv three liabilities. Again, if intentionally, that means what? 3 sets of malchus. Obviously, you can't be chayiv kares 3 times, but halacha l'maaseh for 3 acts of kares you'll be chayiv 3 malchus, right? Three punishments of lashes. Rabbana will hold halacha l'maaseh no. Even with pasuk shar kesev ve'ez, you will only be chayiv once. Now, both another important distinction. Rabbi Chanina, or Rabbi Shmuel, le'inyan karban she'eno mevi ela chatas achos. Rabbi say very important halacha. Comes on Rabbi Chanina and says even Rabbi Shmuel who holds that if you ate chaylev of a shar, a kesev, and an a's in one halam, in which Rabbi Shmuel would hold that halacha l'maaseh you are now chayiv three punishments of lashes, 3 distinct malchus, he would agree that if you did it unintentionally, you are only chayiv 1 chatas. Why is that? My timer? The lo dami hadain lilav de arayis, because Rabbi say chaylev is not like arayis. Now, what does that mean? If you look at Rashi says Rabbi say this is Rashi on the left hand side. In the shorter lines, about 3 lines, in Lav Darayis, Lachinakat Arayis, the Ika Milituva, Vikalad Bechachada. See Rabbi say, what's the difference between Chaylev and Arayis? So by Chaylev, this is what's called the Lav Shebechlalos, which means what? The Torah lumps them all together. Remember, the lashon of the pasuk was Kol Chaylev Shar Kesev Va'ez Lo Sochilu. So you have the prohibitions of Chaylev of Shar Kesev Va'ez, but all mentioned in one pasuk. That's different than Arayis. How is Arayis written? Each Arayis relationship is spelled out separately. So that is why, even if you go ahead and you violate multiple Arayis prohibitions, let's say B'shogeg, in one Halam, you will be chayiv a separate chatos for every Arayos. Even Rabbi Shmuel, who says that if you go ahead and you eat multiple chalavim in one Halam, if you do it intentionally, that she'll be chayiv multiple acts of malchus, he will agree that halacha l'maaseh if you do it unintentionally in one ha'elam, you will only be chayiv 1 chatos. Why? Because at the end of the day, all of those prohibitions of chaylev are mentioned together. So it says the Gemara, Tan Rabbanan, va'asa achas, va'asa hina. So it says the actual pasuk is Daber b'nei Yisrael leimar nefesh kisechta b'shgaga mikol mitzvos asher lo se'asena v'asa me'achos mehena. So what I say there for the Gemara Dash and Samir v'asa achos asa hena lechayiv al kol achos v'achos comes to make you chayiv for every transgression. Meaning what? Shim achal chelev v'chelev shem echad b'shnei ha'alamos. So the Rebbe say if you ate chelev v'chelev, which means that if you ate chelev and then another kizayis of chelev b'shnei ha'alamos, but in two separate lapses, chayiv shtayim, you'll be chayiv twice. Shnei shemis b'ha'alam echad. We'll say if you ate two different forms of chelev in one lapse, chayiv shtayim. So we'll say here two different cases. In case number one, I'm eating, let's say for example, I'm eating two kizayim of chelev. It's the same chelev. Let's say they're both chelev shar, right? But I'm eating them in two separate lapses, so I'll be chayiv twice. Similarly, if I eat chelev shar and chelev kesev in the same ha'alam, I will be chayiv twice as well. Amrle Rami Bar Cham Rav Chisda Bishlam Hashem Echa B'Shnei Ha'alamas Chayiv Shtayim. So I understand if you eat the same type of chelev in two lapses, you'll be chayiv twice. Why? Why did I say? Two different lapses is obviously two different actions. Mishum ha'alamos mechulakin. Ela shnei shemes b'ha'alam echad amay chayiv shtayim. But I don't understand. If I eat two different types of chelev in one lapse of awareness, I eat a kizayis of chelev shar and of chelev kesev in one lapse, why would I be chayiv twice? Haba inon ha'alamos mechulakin veleka. Don't I need separate lapses in order to generate separate liabilities? Amrle hacham asking on what's the case here. Kegon the achal chelev denosar, the mechay mishum nosar mishum chelev. Oh, so we'll say what's the case over here? I ate chelev of nosar, right? Remember again, nosar means part of a carbon that's left over after its window of permissible consumption. So I eat chelev of nosar. So we'll say, so essentially I'm chayiv twice, once for chelev and once for nosar. Amrle im kein lechayiv na mishum kodesh. Well, if that's the case, again, let's go ahead and add on a third chiyuv, which is what Rashi says, asham mi'ilos, inappropriate use of consecrated items. So if I'm eating chelev of nosar, I should be chayiv three times. Once for chelev, once for nosar, and once for an asham mi'ilos, ultimately again inappropriate use of hegdish. To which the Gemara says, Ela Amarav Sheshes, Kigon da'achal chelev de hegdish. So what's the case? The case of is no, I ate chelev of hegdish. That's the case over here. And that Rabbi Yehuda he desanya, achal chelev nevela, achal chelev mukdashin, chayiv shtayim. And also Rabbi Yehuda holds that if you ate chelev of nevela or a chelev of hegdish, I'm going to be chayiv twice. Why twice? Once for chelev, once for hegdish. So Rabbi Yehuda says, chelev mukdashin, listen to this, chelev mukdashin lokesh shalosh. Now Rabbi Yehuda actually holds that if you ate chelev of mukdashin, you will be chayiv three times. So we'll see why that is in just a moment. So when Rabbi Yehuda said this, they laughed at him in Eretz Yisrael. Three times for chelev hamukdashin doesn't make any sense. The nukma kigon, chelev deshar v'kesev v'eiz Rabbi Shmuel. Why don't you say maybe the case is where I ate the chelev of a shar, kesev, and eiz in one ha'alam, and whose opinion does this reflect? Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel holds that alochalam aisa what? If you eat chelev of shar, kesev, and eiz in one ha'alam, you are chayiv three times. Alma, Amud Bezer will say, Amalo ukmak Rabbi Shmuel. Why not set it up like Rabbi Shmuel? To Rabbi Chanina, I'll tell you why. To Rabbi Chanina, Mo'odahai Rabbi Shmuel, le'inyan karban, she'eno chayiv ela chatas achas. Because what did we say before? Rabbi Shmuel holds that you're chayiv three times. When does he say you're chayiv three times? Rabbi will say when? For intentional consumption of chelev, you'll be chayiv for three kares prohibitions. You'll get malchus three times. But even Rabbi Shmuel holds that if you ate three kazesim of chelev, one of shor, one of kesav, one of eiz, that you will only be chayiv for one chatas. To which the Gemara says, Hashtanami, Rabbi Yehuda lo matukma. so too we can't set this up like Rabbi Huda. Why not? Amar Rabbi Lazar, Moda hay Rabbi Huda le'inyan karban she'ein mevi ela chatas achas. That even Rabbi Huda agrees, Rabbi Osai, that Allah chalamais you only bring one chatas. Ela amei reish lakish mishum bar tutni. Hacham asking on what's the case? It's actually very interesting. So we'll say, what's the case of ultimately again multiple chaylev consumption that will generate multiple carbonic liability? Here's the case. Very interesting. Kegon sha'achlan b'shnei tamchuyin. We'll say, what's the case? Now this Rashi is actually back on Amud Aleph. Rashi says, Beis ma'achlan danu beis shemes kegon tavshilu tzli. You prepared the chaylev in two different ways. For example, you prepared one chaylev was cooked, one chaylev was fried. So Rabbi says, so ultimately again, if you were to eat chaylev, which was prepared in two different ways, valib Rabbi Yeshua Amar tamchuyin mechulakin. Rabbi Yeshua is of the opinion, Rabbi say, that chaylev that is prepared in different ways actually has distinct chaylev identities, to the point that it would generate distinct liability. Very interesting. I will say, see, even the same type of chaylev, but it's prepared, if cooked different ways, would generate different chaylev liability. Gufa. So let's analyze this. Achol chaylev nevela lo keshtayim. We'll say if a person ate chaylev nevela, you're chayiv twice. Why are you chayiv twice? Why? Once for chaylev, once for nevela. Good. So similarly again, chaylev mukdashin lo keshtayim. If you were to eat the chaylev of a sacrificial animal, of mukdashin, you'd be chayiv twice. Why? Once again for chaylev, once for consumption of sacrificial items. Rabbi Huda Omer chaylev mukdashin lo keshalosh. Rabbi Huda actually says that halacha lemaisa, if you ate the chaylev of mukdashin, you get 3 sets of malchus. Why 3 sets of malchus? Amalei Rav Shizki the Rava, Bishlam Yehuda Hainu Dichsiv Krai Chukas Olam Kol Chaylev V'Chol Dam Lo So Chaylu Kol Chaylev Shor V'Kesa V'Eiz Lo So Chaylu V'Chol Zar Lo Yochal Kodesh Hot Lasalav. You're supposed to listen to this. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, what you'd have to say is like this: one lav is Kol Chaylev Shor V'Kesa Lo So Chaylu. Second lav, ultimately again, is Chukas Olam Kol Chaylev V'Chol Dam Lo So Chaylu. And third is V'Chol Zar Lo Yochal Kodesh. According to Rabbi Shmuel Silber, when you eat chaylev of kodshim, the 3 lavim are 2 lavim associated with chaylev, and a third lav that says that a zar, a non-kohen, is not permitted to eat anything sacrificial. Those are the 3 lavim according to Rabbi Huda. El Rabbana and my taimo. So according to the Rabbana, why we only be chayiv 2? Kasavri lav dechukas olam bekodshim. Belav dechaylev shor bechulin. Because they will say ultimately, again, I will say that the first 2 lavim are talking about 2 different things. The lav of chukas olam, that's talking of chaylev of kodshim. The lav ultimately of chaylev is talking about chaylev shor, is talking about by chulin. Utzrichi, and I need both lavim. Why? The kasav rachmana bekodshim, because the Torah would have just said the lav of chaylev by kodshim. Hava amina kodshim udechamiri da aser chelbo. I would have said, where does the Isra of Chaylev apply? Dafka by Kodshim, because Kodshim in general are more Chomer. Aval D'chulin Eimalo, but maybe there's no Chiyav of Chulin, no Isra of Chulin by Chulin. There's no Isra of Chaylev by Chulin, I'm sorry. To which the Gemara says, Eimalo, Mishum Hachi Kasav Rachmana Kol Chaylev Shar. Therefore, the Torah gives a special prohibition of Chaylev by Chulin to teach you that Chaylev applies to Chulin as well. The Kasav Kol Chaylev Shar, Hava Mina Chaylev D'chulin Hu Da'aser. And if it would have just said Kol Chaylev Shor, I would have said that it's Dafka Chaylev of Chulin that is Aser, Mishum Delo Hutter Michlalo. Because it will say ultimately again, there's no corresponding case where it is permitted. Ava Chaylev Mukdoshin Do Hutter Michlalo. But I will say by other form, but there are other forms of Chaylev Mukdoshin. For example, I will say there are other cases. Look at Rashi. Da Alya Ikri Chaylev Bekeves Vishtri Bashar. So for example, I will say by Kodshim, you find cases of permitted chaylev. Where do you find cases of permitted chaylev? So for example, the fat of the tail, which is called chaylev by keves, is not called chaylev by shor and eis. Hava amina midohotar bisaran. So I'm sorry. Hava amina chaylev d'chulin hu da'aser mishum delohotar michlalo. Ava chaylev mukdoshin dehotar michlalo. Hava amina Midehotar bisaran ishtarinami chelban. I would have thought the same way that the meat is permitted, the chiluv would be permitted as well. Therefore, tzvichi. Therefore, Rabbi say, I need psukim to teach me that the chiluv of both chulin animals as well as sacrificial animals will both be aser. Rabbi Huda will say, ki ksiv chiluv shar b'inyan dekachim ksiv. Rabbi Huda will say, when do we ask the chiluv of a shar? That's mentioned by kachim. Ela michlal d'rabbanan savri lo yalfinan davra halamein me'inyano. So I will say, is that to say that the rabbanan do not look at context when making the drasha? Lo d'chuli alma davra halamein. Everyone agrees that when making a drasha, we look at context. Ubaha kamiflagi, and this is what they're arguing about. Rabbi Huda Savar lemeidin lav milav v'lav mikares. What's what we saw before? Rabbi Huda holds that we could learn out a lav from another lav, as even if that lav is subject to kares. V'rabbanan savri lav mi lav yalfinon, lav mi kares lo yalfinon. Rabbanan on the other hand will say that's what we could learn out one lav from another lav, but we do not learn out a lav from kares. Skip the parentheses. Tanya kol chaylev v'chol dam lo sochelu. So we'll say, listen to this. So the pasuk says, kol chaylev and kol dam, right? Any chaylev and any blood you can't eat. Ma chaylev lo kishtaim. So also remember again, the context over here is the chaylev of kodshim. Just like by chaylev of kodshim, you'll get 2 sets of malchus. Why 2 sets of malchus? One for chaylev and one for kodshim. Good. Af dam lo kishtaim. Div Rabbi Huda. So too again, if you eat the blood of kodshim, you'll also get 2 sets of malchus. Why 2 sets of malchus? One for blood, one for kodshim. These words Rabbi Huda. The Chacham say, Ein bo elas hara'achas. The Chacham say, no, it's not true. Rather, you'll only get 1 set of malchus. So here we go. So it says the Gemara, Umay shna. Now, just to be clear as to what the shaila is over here, it seems that the Chacham are only arguing on dam and not on chaylev. Everyone will agree that if you eat chaylev of kodshim, you'll get 2 sets of malchus. One for chaylev, one for kodshim. By dam, Rabbi Huda holds you get 2 sets of malchus, one for dam and one for kodshim. The Chachamim say no, for dam you only get 1 set of malchus. To which the Gemara says, why? Why is it that by chaylev you get 2 sets of malchus? Below akesha, dichsivi bei trei kroi. Because ultimately, again, there are 2 psukim. Kol chaylev v'chol dam lo sochelu. Kol chaylev shar v'kesev. Dam. So we'll say by chaylev. Ultimately, there are 2 psukim. One is to teach me what? That I'm chayiv for chaylev of chulin and I'm chayiv for chaylev of kodshim. Dam nami belav hekesh. So we'll say blood dam. If we're that the hekesh the chaylev, I should also be chayiv twice. Why? Tichsivi bei trei lavin. Because we'll say by blood, it also says 2 lavim. Kol chaylev v'chol dam lo sochelu. V'chol dam lo sochelu b'chol moshe osechem. So we'll say lo f'lo. So we'll say ultimately again, I have 2 psukim ultimately by blood as well. So just like 2 psukim of chaylev teach me that I'm chayiv for chaylev of chulin and chayiv for chaylev of kodshim, and therefore if I eat chaylev of kodshim, I'll be chayiv twice. Once for chaylev, once for kodshim. By dam, if I eat dam of kodshim, I should also be chayiv twice. Once for dam and once for kodshim. Ela ima ma chaylev loke shalosh. Af dam loke gimel. So we'll say if that's the case, I should say, just like chaylev gets 3 sets of malchus, we'll discuss this in just a moment. Right, so to dam should also get 3 sets of malchus. Umay shna chaylev loke shalosh. Why would chaylev get 3 sets of malchus? Tichsiv bei halein trei lavin. Because we'll say by dam, I have the 2 lavim I just mentioned. The lav dizarus. The Rabbi say, now watch this. If I go ahead and I eat sacrificial blood, I should be chayiv 3 times. Why the 3rd? Because it will say any time a non-Kohen partakes of something sacrificial, there is a lav associated with that. Dam nami, I'm sorry, by chaylev. Dam nami, itzrich. So dam nami, itzrich schadait chamina, hoil v'ismayit dam mituma. So this is actually very interesting. Since dam is not subject to the laws of tumah, lis amit mizarus. So we'll say we're going to discuss this. Technically speaking, if you consume dam tameh, you're not chayiv for the consumption of something sacrificial that has become impure. The concept of tumah does not apply to dam. So I might have thought that since the concept of Tumah does not apply to dam, therefore what? Lismait mizarus. So too again, halacha lamaisa, the concept of a non-Kohen partaking of it should also not apply to dam. Kamash malon, that is not the case. Kamash malon akesha. Therefore, we'll say kamash malon that we compare dam to chaylev, and just like ultimately again, there's a din of zarus by chaylev, so too there's a din of zarus by dam. Ve'al rabbanon hekesha l'mayasa. According to the rabbanon, what does the hekesh come to teach me? Nibayle l'chidisanya. I need it for the following: Kol chaylev v'chol dam lo so chaylev. Pasuk says, any chaylev and any dam you should not eat. Ma chaylev miyuchad shechal bo chaluk mibsaro. Just like chaylev is unique, and that the chaylev is reckoned separately than the flesh, than the basar. Ve'im mitztarfim zemzeh. And the basar, remember again, for an isra achila, the chaylev does not combine with the basar, and the basar does not combine with the chaylev. Af dam shedamo chaluk mibsaro. So too the Hekesh teaches me that so too by dam. The dam, the blood, is separate and distinct from the basar. Right? So just as I say, so too the dam is not mitzaref with the basar, and the basar is not mitzaref with the dam. Otzi dam shratzim. I would exclude from this the blood of shratzim. Hoil ve'in daman chaluk mibisaran. So I will say, so the blood of shratzim, since their blood, remember again by shratzim, there's no distinction between the dam of a sheretz and the basar of a sheretz. They're both treated like sheretz. Therefore, mitzarfim zemzeh. So the Rebbe will say, when it comes to the shear of Isser of Sheretz, interestingly enough, the blood is mitzaref with the basar, the basar is mitzaref with the dam to form the shear. So it's actually quite fascinating. So by other Isurim, let's say by dam and by chaylev, of animals, let's say, so dam is not mitzaref with basar, basar is not mitzaref with dam, chaylev is not mitzaref with basar, basar is not mitzaref with chaylev, chaylev is not mitzaref with dam, dam is not mitzaref with chaylev. All of those isurim are reckoned separately. When it comes to shratzim, interestingly enough, basar is mitzaref with dam, dam is mitzaref with basar to create the full shear. Do we learn this out from here? Mehasam nafka, we learn this out from elsewhere. Where do we learn out from? V'zeh lachem hatamei, limeid al dam hasheretz v'hasheretz mitzarfim zemzeh. We learned that out from the pasuk of v'zeh lachem hatamei. V'zeh lachem hatamei, v'sheretz hasheretz al haaretz v'achol. So we'll say that we learn out the fact that the dam is messiah for the basar from that pasuk, to which the Gemara says limeid al dam hasheretz v'hasheretz mitzarfim zemzeh. To which the Gemara says, you're right. But, ilav hekesha, were it not for the hekesh between dam and chaylev, sagadai tchamina hanimilil tuma. I would have said, when ultimately, again, as is mitzaref, that's for tuma purposes, aval la'achila emalo, but ultimately, again, perhaps for consumption purposes, the dam is not mitzaref for the basar. Therefore, again, ashmuna hekesha la'achila. Therefore, the hekesh teaches me that even for achila purposes, by a sheretz, the dam ultimately again is mitzaref with the basar. Ravina. Ravina says, Hilchach dam nachash ubisaro mitzarfin. Ravina says, therefore you see from here that what? The dam, the blood of the snake and its flesh combined together to form the prohibited shear of achila. So my kamash on her. Okay, so we just learned that, right? That's okay on both sides. So now the hekesh teaches me that again, it's dafka ultimately again in situations where dam and chaylev are the same, like by behemoths, where ultimately again the blood is not mitzaref with the basar, but by the isra of shratzim, the blood is mitzaref with the basar. So obviously snake falls into the shratzim family. So of course when it comes to a snake, the blood will be mitzaref with the basar. To which the Gemara says, sheretz tisrabi l'tuma israbi la'achila. Perhaps only the type of sheretz that is subject to tuma that has this din by achila. Nachash delo israbi l'tuma lo israbi la'achila. A nachash, I will say, interestingly enough, which is not subject to the laws of tumas shratzim, which the Gemara learns out, perhaps does not have the din of achila. So maybe I would say that the blood of the sheretz is not mitzaref to the basar of the sheretz. Kamash malon hekesha komili de'in damo chalak mebisara mashma. Therefore, both sides, the hekesh comes to teach you that what? That Allah lamaisa, any item whose blood is not separate from its basar ultimately is included. So even though the snake which doesn't have tumas sheretz, will have the halacha in terms of that its blood ultimately combines with its basar for the prohibition. Okay, so it's just an interesting aside. So the Hekesh teaches me that halacha l'maisa again, normally blood is not mitzdaref with basar for the isra achila, just like chilev is not mitzdaref with basar for isra achila. The exception to this rule is what? Sheretz. When it comes to sheretz, the blood is mitzdaref with the basar for the isra achila. Interesting. Also, just another line. Amar Rava, shalosh Krisus ha'amuros badam lamai. So we'll say there are 3 times that the Torah discusses the isra kares when it comes to dam. Why 3? So the Gemara says, achos ladam chulin. One is to teach me. One is to teach me that there is an isra kares for the consumption of chulin blood. Va'achas l'dam kodshin. One is to teach you about the prohibition of kares for sacrificial blood. V'achas l'dam atamsis. We'll say dam atamsis is the blood that drains after the shlita, right? And you shech the animal, there's the initial what's the right word? Spurting, right? The lifeblood that spurts out. The dam atamsis is the subsequent blood that flows out. So even if you eat dam atamsis, ultimately there's going to be an isser kares. So Rabbi said 3 isurim of kares, ultimately again to teach you whether you eat chulin blood, kodshin blood, or dam atamsis. Rabbi Huda is saying dam atamsis is ba'asara. So this makes sense according to Rabbi Huda. To argue, Rabbi Huda holds that dam atamsis is only subject to a lav. Rabbi Omer dam matam lomar kol dam aini ala dam kodshim shanefesh yotzebo. So Rabbi I only know that it refers to dam kodshim, that is the lifeblood. Dam chulin v'dam atamtis minayin tamalomar kol dam ela ima achas ledam chulin v'achas ledam kodshim v'achas. Rabbi says therefore again, the Gemara is saying the phrase kol dam comes to include dam atamtis. If that's the case, that kol dam comes to include dam tamsis, then ultimately again, what do I do with the 3rd mentioning of dam? Rather says the Gemara ela ima achas dam chulin. One mention of dam comes to teach me that dam chulin is subject to kares. Va'achas ladam kodshim. One mention is coming to teach you that halacha l'maisa sacrificial blood is subject to kares. Va'achas ladam kisui. Rabbi say this is actually quite fascinating. And one is coming to teach you that dam kisui. What's dam kisui? If you look at Rashi says on the left hand side, dam kisui, the dam chayvov shekisuvin is gala. So listen to this, fascinating. Remember back to our chulin days. The halacha is when you shech the chaya or an oaf, you have to do kisa, you have to cover the blood. Now here's the interesting part. What happens if you cover that blood and then the blood afterwards becomes uncovered? I might have thought that once blood is covered, it no longer has the din of blood. What does it have the din of? Earth, dirt. And therefore if it were to cover it and become uncovered, you would not be chayiv. Kamash malan, no. Kamash malan, that one blood is blood. And even if it's covered and subsequently becomes uncovered, if you eat that is subject ultimately again to the prohibition of karesa blood. Quite fascinating. All right, so actually one more, fine. Amarava, this we're going to stop. Amarava, chamisha lavin amur bedam lama. There are 5 prohibitions associated with blood. What does it come to teach me? Achas adam chulin. We're going to teach you the prohibition when it comes to regular blood. Achas adam kodshim, sacrificial blood. Achas ladam kisui. That's what we just said. Even if blood is covered and subsequently becomes uncovered, it is going to be aser. Va'achas ladam evarin. They both say one refers to the blood that seeps out of the limbs. Va'achas ladam tamsis. And ultimately, again, one is dam tamtis, which is the blood that comes out after the initial lifeblood. Both say to teach you that halacha l'maisa consumption in any of this type of blood ultimately will be subject to kares. We'll stop over here. We'll pick up over here tomorrow. Shkoyach.